Muay Thai fighter, boxer, mixed martial artist, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. It's safe to say you're an all-round fighter and martial artist. Talk to me about how lockdown was and how the fight with Viv came about.
Lockdown was pretty tough at first. It was our second lockdown as well, so I think we're all a bit over it by that point. At first, it was not too bad to have like a little bit of downtime because I was preparing for a fight at the time against a really strong opponent, and I felt like maybe getting some extra time was going to be good for that fight prep. But once it hit like that, I think 3-week mark, I was just completely over it. I felt like really anxious about all my like goals being taken away. I'm sure a lot of people did. It was pretty overwhelming a lot of the time.
How was it going into a boxing fight camp, and how did it differ from a Muay Thai fight camp compared to a mixed martial arts fight camp? I saw you did a lot of travelling for sparring from Hornsby to Wollongong. How did it help that you knew you could do this full time and we were in lockdown as well?
Yeah, well the fight came about like a week after we got out of lockdown. I think Viviana's opponent pulled out, or she couldn't get someone here from interstate, something along those lines. And someone just asked me if I would do it. And at first I thought it sounded like a really good idea. Then I found out who the opponent was, and it made me just a little bit nervous and maybe second guess if I wanted to really do that. But I had a chat with my coaches, and they said basically like with the right strategy, I think you can win. And we had actually done a lot of boxing in lockdown, a lot of boxing one-on-ones, me and Alex. So it kind of felt like destiny that the fight came about when it did.
Introduce to me your team and what their role are.
I have a big team. Big team, obviously. I fight out of Karaote MMA. Alex Karaote, the owner, is my head coach. He's the one that has been taking me through all the MMA fights and now the boxing fight. We teamed up for this boxing fight with Anthony Redwood, who's at Grange High Performance. Yeah, he took me through my amateur boxing fights, my 2 amateur boxing fights. So we already had a strong relationship there. And he's been around Viviana for a long time too, so he sort of had a lot to bring to the table. So that was like the 2 gyms I worked for boxing. But then we've got Legacy Jiu-Jitsu, I do all my Jiu-Jitsu there, the Wrestling Foundation for my wrestling, Ethos Performance for my strength, so there's a lot in one team.
Many hands, right? Many hands. How much did it annoy you when you got the comments, just another kickboxer in a boxing fight? Did you feel like you had to represent the other kickboxers out there, or I know this is like a trigger there, but I hate hearing that, and I hate seeing a lot of boxers purposely call out kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters, MMA fighters, just assuming that they can't box and assuming it's going to be an easy night. So I was like determined not to just be like another easy fight for a boxer. And I wanted to show everyone that like mixed martial artists are good at everything. That's why they're mixed martial artists. You clearly showed that you were there to mix it up. You were technical, your head movement was there, you were in and out. It was safe to say the hook was probably the prettiest punch on the night. How were your feelings on the fight, and what can you improve on?
The fight itself, I knew it was going to be like a sort of fast-paced fight. There was going to be a lot of volume. When I watch it back, I'm never happy with it. There's always something I want to do better, and there's always something I look at and wish that I didn't do. But when I watch that one back, I'm pretty happy with what I did. Like, I've never been known to move my head in a fight before, for example. And we worked a lot on that, and it came through on the night, so I was super happy with it. And I think just having like a good dance partner made the fight look really good too. Like, you can't discredit Viviana in any way. She's a great boxer. So the 2 of us in there together made it like a really good girl fight. Oh no,
that was just a good fight in general, right? I think a lot of people were thinking that's probably the fight of the night as well.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be a scrap or an awkward sort of in tight clench situation. I wanted to look like a boxing fight, and I think it did.
Oh, it was great. That slip jab, slip pull, slip straight.
sort of come in to smother the rest of that attack, and that was really, I was really impressed. That was really nice. Were you tempted to throw a kick at all?
No, no, I wasn't. I think the only accidental mishappen was a sprawl in the first round, but you know, don't put your head near my hips.
Well, you're going to be pushed down, right? That's a legit move anyway.
Yeah.
That leads me to styles. I always like to think that high-level athletes, their style reflects their personality. So if they're aggressive or if they're calculating, how would you describe your style, and how has it changed in the last little while?
It's changed a lot. I think since I moved into Coyote MMA, my style has changed a lot. I used to win when I was an up and comer. I used to win through, I think, a lot of aggression and a lot of like forcing myself onto my opponent as I was in the earlier fights. But I think Alex has helped me to be like a lot more calculated, tricky, and just more fluid as well, and just more than one dimension to the way I fight.
Instead of making them fight your fight, you're just saying, pick your poison. Whatever you do, I'm going to attack that weakness.
Sometimes attack, sometimes trap, sometimes move. Like
I love it.
I've changed a lot. I can feel it and I can see it.
That's great. In MMA, on the other side, they're more like the thinking of, you're the kickboxer who doesn't grapple, right? So it's the other problem as well.
I know.
Yet you look fine in the grappling exchanges. I think you even started slapping on some sub attempts as well in the Eternal fight.
Yeah.
You're on the back, you're on the side. How much fun has it been becoming a beginner again in a different martial art?
At first it was like really overwhelming. At first I wouldn't really call it fun at all. It was a lot of me being just on my back and stuck like every session. But now it's so much fun, and I actually stopped grappling for 4 weeks for this fight, and I missed it so much. I missed kicking, I missed elbowing, I missed jiu-jitsu, but I feel like I have a lot to bring into my MMA now with boxing. It's funny, like what you said about me, like not me being the kickboxer. That boxing show was the first time anyone had actually called me an MMA fighter.
Yes,
on a boxing show. Like the
Yeah.
MMA scene, they don't call me an MMA fighter. I'm the kickboxer to them. So everyone's got something different to say.
Well, absolutely. Well, you mixed it up really, really well with strikes and with grappling in the two fights I've watched, and I think one of them was she was a brown belt, Olivia, I think.
Yeah, my debut was against a brown belt.
So that was a heart in your throat sort of fight, but that was beautiful. It was beautiful. You dominated that fight. When you're out of camp, what's your training routine like?
It's not too much different. Like I always train a lot. I always train twice a day, 3 to 5 hours a day, because there's just so much learning for me to do, especially being a beginner in MMA. There's so much I need to catch up on. So it's quite similar. It's just less intensity, more learning, less intensity, and just a bit more fun. Like we just have a little bit more fun with the experiment. Yeah, but I'm always striking, always grappling every day.
That's awesome. That sort of gives me that other side. Like how difficult, or what have you found for yourself about skill acquisition? So like learning the ins and outs of grappling, which is totally different to a Muay Thai clinch, but I'm sure there's some crossovers here and there for everything. How have you found the way you learn the best?
To be honest, I actually think that I've picked up grappling quicker than I was picking up striking when I first started. I feel more of a natural at grappling. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know, I just feel like I've adapted a lot quicker. Like striking first year or 2 years, I was pretty terrible. Like, like I couldn't get the hang of most things. But grappling, it feels very natural. It feels very comfortable to me.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great. Has there been any crossovers from what you've done in striking into the wrestling, into the jiu-jitsu side of things, or vice versa? Has like some of the grappling come into your striking and you go, oh, that makes sense now.
I think having done Muay Thai helped me with wrestling a little bit and grappling, because you just sort of understand basic things like framing and weight distribution and you've sort of been like in that like grapple situation already. So I think Muay Thai helped with that.
That's awesome, isn't it? And you're starting on your feet, so you're not unhappy about starting on the feet anyway, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Shout out to sponsors. You've mentioned a couple of them already before. Go ahead and just tell me how important they were in your life to become a full-time athlete, and how they helped you and what they do as well.
Yeah. So I have a few sponsors now. Only this year I've been able to reduce working to part-time so I can fully focus on fighting. They helped me all through COVID, so even though they were sort of on the struggle street, they never stopped supporting me. And yeah, it helps so much, like especially if like going into a fight, there are so many expenses, like your strength, your nutrition, your gym fees, your bloods, like there's so much. And just not having to like take care of that by myself is just it's such a load off. I can focus on training rather than stressing about training at 5 a.m. and then 8 p.m. because I have to work during the day. It's been amazing.
You're usually getting in 2-a-days, right? So strength and conditioning, and then one of the disciplines at night, I assume, or?
I do usually 2 disciplines at night. So like kickboxing and then jiu-jitsu, or boxing and wrestling, usually 2. Yeah.
How's the washing workload?
My poor partner, Quincy. It's a lot.
When it's
I
gi
come
day,
home
it's
with
a lot.
so many changes of clothes. Yeah, it's not great.
All combat sports are generally weight-based. How much of a help has the fight dietitian been in your career so far now?
Oh, he's been amazing. It's just, so to put it, like give you some perspective, before I had him, I was sort of like doing it on my own and starving myself to get to around to like 56 kilos, like, and that's like, I'd do like a month of being really hungry and low in energy, and now I'm contracted at 52.5 kilos and I'm full all the time. And it's not just that you get to eat, like the food's actually really nice. Like, there's so much variety, and yeah, he's been such a great help. And apart from the food, just like getting like the scans that they provide, like the DEXA scans, and knowing where you should sit instead of just guessing, that's helped a lot too.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
right?
they take the guesswork out. It's all science. It's amazing.
It gives you room to play with as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is the nicest thing. And he works with like a couple of guys like Volk, etc. Where he has to get onto the bell. So of course he's going to use that experience with you as well.
100%. They're amazing.
What's next for the Juggernaut?
It's so hard liking everything because I want to do everything and I want to get into the depths of absolutely every discipline. But in saying that, I did sign a contract with Eternal MMA. So I have a 3-fight contract with them next year, which is super exciting.
Nice.
Sneak in a little jits comp this year, and yeah, I just want to focus on making sure I smash those fights next year, because that'll lead to bigger things. But anything I can do to like make myself more of a complete martial artist, whether it's grappling comps, boxing fights, like I'll do it.
That puts me onto the sort of like other side of things. So Eternal, they're doing an amazing job. They put on really good fight nights. Obviously they're not worldwide. Worldwide, have people started to knock on the door like a Bellator or a One?
Not particularly. There's like a plan in place, but I think it's very important, and my team think it's very important that I get the right amount of experience before I go jumping into the deep end.
Get their apprenticeship done, right?
Get my apprenticeship done, get some hard fights, then get an international opportunity, and then go from there. Make sure I've done all the work first.
So when you say sneaky grappling comp, is there a certain ADCC comp coming up in Castle Hill?
I believe so. In December.
You did that on that rule set as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did it a few months ago.
How was that?
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. Yeah. I only had one opponent in my division, which was a bit disappointing. But yeah, it was fun. I think it's more got a little bit more wrestling base to it, which is awesome because I love wrestling and I don't spend that much time in the gi, so it's probably good.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I'm hoping you all the best. We're going to be following anyway. And
Thank you.
where can we follow you?
Probably Instagram's the best place. My Instagram name is Jacinta_Jade with two E's because someone took my one E. And yeah, the gym page, Coyote MMA Hornsby. Yeah, all the updates go on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Woo.